Hey guys, I'm Tom. I'm the founder of Curious Growth and the founder and chief instructor of Canberra Martial Arts. And today I'll be showing you how to make a basic cash flow spreadsheet to help you manage your weekly and day-to-day cash flow and make your life a little bit easier with planning what sort of money you're going to need and how do you manage the bills that you've got. Awesome, let's get into it. All right, guys. So just going to talk you through what I've started to do setting up here is I've just created a workbook in Excel. You can do this with Google Sheets. It's exactly the same process. I'm just been adding some columns, and I'll go through these as well anyway. And I'll be using the dates that we've got today because it's a it's a simple thing to do. Um, and realistically, when you start to go through these and use Excel as often as I do, you'll start to see that there's some things that are really, really, really easy to do and some things that are a little bit harder to do, but we can work through it. And again, you can always add comments to the post and here on Facebook, and I'll always help you out. All right, so what I've done here is I've got a column on the spreadsheet is the date. I'm going to have the bank balance in here. I've got a line here for total in, so input like income. You can call it income if you want to get excited. And outs, we've got expenses. So these are going to be total lines that add up these lines over here. And then what I've got is the end of day is going to add up all of these things for us. And I'll go through how I did the math again. Don't worry. So I'm going to delete that. So we're going to do it again. I've created 4 lines for income and I've created about a dozen because a lot of the time you're going to add lots of little tiny things here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through and look, if you really got excited, you could add the day of the week here. There's things that you can learn to do um, later on that you'll figure out that let's say this is Monday. There's formulas that you can do to make your life easier, like drag and drop is probably the best one. So it goes through and it does the days of the week for you. So I'm going to give you an example of what I do with my business here. So every Thursday I get my income. Now I'm not going to use the actual figures that I do. I'm just going to use random numbers that we do. So let's say I know that every Thursday, I'm going to make 500 bucks. Now let's hope your businesses are every Thursday are making a lot more than this. But coming out of the crisis, I totally understand. And so every week on a Thursday, I get all of my recurring revenue payments. And let's say that I know that on a weekly basis that I do like 100 bucks worth of sales. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do this thing here. I'm going to make this red because what we do throughout the week is when you set this up, this is more for budgeting. But then what you do is in the real time, as you go backwards, you can actually go back and start to make some changes. So I'm going through here, and let's say my rent is $250 every Friday. I pay my rent. It's $250, and let's say, whoopsie, um, the view has just decided to have a little bit of a conniption. That was cute. That is Excel. That's what it does. Anyway, so every week my rent is $250. I can just copy and paste that in here. And let's say that the end of the month I've got like 300 bucks worth of interest that I have to pay. I don't know. We all have things that we have to pay regularly. Each week my wages are going to be, say my wages are $150. Look, these are just numbers, guys. Like you can put whatever numbers in there. If I showed you my behemoth of a spreadsheet that I use, it gets out of hand here. And we've got other things like once a month you might have, like let's say on the 25th of each month, you're going to have like $100 phone bill because of these are the things that you do. So you're starting to see here, I put in my incomes, I've highlighted my expected incomes, and then I've got my expenses that I start to do through here. Let's say we've got a $99 CRM fee, whatever it is. All right, nice and simple. What I'm going to do is the income, I'm going to SUM, the total of these lines here and then I'm going to close it off, and that's going to give it, obviously it didn't make any income. The expenses for this day are the sum of all of these cells like this, and I close the bracket off, boom. You can see how that, if there's nothing in it, it's going to produce 0. Now, here's the cool part, guys. Don't redo the work if you don't have to. You can literally drag that little dot, boom, and it's going to start to add up all of the things here. So you can see here all of the expenses that you've got, all of the income that you've got. Now, the first one's always the tricky one, but I've done nothing here, so you can always set up a funny line. So the end of the day is going to be the balance plus the income minus the expenses. Pretty simple, right? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now, obviously, the balance for the next day is going to be equal to the balance from yesterday. So what you can do is you can just drag that down here. Watch the video again if you were confused by that one. So now what I'm doing here is I'm going, this is equal to the balance plus income minus expenses equals. Cool. Now when you drag this down, it's going to start to add up all these values. So as you go through here on the Thursday, we made $500, and let's say you're expecting to make $100 at the sales. The next day, we made $250 and $150 worth of expenses, which drew the bank account down by $1,200 to income, so that you can really see the difference between them and makes a distinction for you. Now, this is a really, really simple one. I've got more in-depth ones that you can do, but I really suggest that you do that. And then what you'll do is, let's say we fast forward a week into the future, and our actual recurring revenue was $505, and we made, let's say, $150 worth of sales. So I'm going to delete this, and I go, well done. I made $150 worth of sales. This will start to automatically. The other thing I forgot about, I had to pay a fee for something, which was $132. Boom. That's going to start to adjust the fees and things as you go. Now, as you move forward, you don't want to be scrolling through forever. So what you can do is, as you finish the week, you can go down here and you can hide the cells in Excel. They won't change the math, and then you can just focus on that. But what you can do each week is you can see how much money you're going to have in your bank account at the end of each day based on what it is. Now, final tip, really, really important, guys. I would suggest that you put in every single expense that you're going to have, okay? Because if you don't put it in there, and then you get a bit of a rude shock. So if you know that for whatever reason, you've got a thing with Google, and on the 5th of each month, you have to pay $5.90 for Google, whatever it is, put it in there. If you know that you spend like $300 a week on Facebook advertising, put it in there. Now you'll quickly see $300, like it's going to start to eat up that money that's in your bank account. But don't worry, this is when you start to think about, for every dollar I spend on advertising, I expect to make $2 back. So this is when I actually start to put things in there about, expectations. But the fun part is, make sure that you know that it's potential revenue and that you have to work your ass off to get to it. Cool. Anyway, thanks, guys. This is a really simple cash flow sheet. I use this for my cash runs every day, and it's really useful for your business to keep a real good finger on the pulse as to how much money you've got in the account and how much money you will have in the account in the future. Thanks so much.